a moment, a season in my life. I put you in my plans. I did what I thought was right. I worked so hard just to watch it die. Sometimes you have to leave some things behind.
Hey, it's Blastzone Mike, and welcome to Blastzone Mike's Fire Rock TV show. And today I have Royce Adams with me. Some of you might know his father as Crush, might know him as Brian Adams. As I was telling you before we come on, I was a huge WCW Brian Adams fan. He's one of the big guys, you know. He was just that cool dude, you know. And I liked him as a heel, I think, more than a face, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. Do you ever hear that? Do you hear people say that they liked him more in WCW or more in WWF?
It mixes, honestly. People, I get a mixed reaction. Most of them remember, or they preferred him when he was still with WWF as Crush. Yeah.
Mm.
But sometimes I get people that tell me they liked him when he was in Chronic. So yeah. So it's a bit of both here and there.
Now, do you still stay in touch with some of the people your dad wrestled with, like Brian Clark or the Undertaker or any of those kind of guys?
I am in contact with some of those guys. Yeah, like I'm like Facebook friends with Brian Clark and stuff. Like we actually got a hold of each other last year. Talking about how things, seeing how things have been and stuff. I asked how he's doing. Well, I think I did. I mean, it was a while ago, but yeah. So we still keep in touch. As for the most of my dad's other friends, guys like Undertaker and the others. I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to get a hold of them these days. If I'm ever able to. Granted,
Yeah.
it's because they're like super busy and stuff, and I try not to bother with them and all that.
Well, let's talk about what's happened to your family here in the last month. You signed a Legends contract with WWE. How'd that go down?
How'd it go down? Well, they contacted me about a month ago. Actually, they reached out to me through phone and stuff, and I was at work when it happened. I was looking at my phone and I saw like a number I didn't recognize. I thought it was like one of the scamming number,
Yeah.
because I get those. It's like freaking. Hello, would you be interested in senior health benefits programs? How are you? I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm not there yet. So I ignored the phone call because like I said, I thought it was a scam. But then I was looking through my voicemail because it gets filled up because of these calls. So it's filled up. I'm like looking through, okay, another scam. Hello, are you there? No. And I see I see the guy's voicemail and saying this and that. Like he says, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm with the WWE's media group, I think, and I was reaching out to see if you're interested in signing a nostalgia deal on behalf of Brian Adams." And I'm like, well, that's new. So I reached back out to the guy. Hey, yeah, this is Royce, Brian's son. You were saying something about a deal, and he explains to me the details of the deal and stuff. And yeah, he tells me that they'll put my dad on this and that, like merchandise, toys, shirts, TV shows or stuff, or maybe documentaries, games too, everything as he's described it. And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Let me relay this message to some folks I know. So I told my mom about this, and she thinks the deal is cool too, but it's also like one of those too good to be true kind of deals, right? So the guy explains to me he sent out similar deals to guys like Axe and Smash, the other Demolition members. And so my mom reached out to the wife of Smash, Teresa, I think is her name. And she confirms on her end that they did receive similar contracts. Both Smash and Axe also received the contracts. And we decided, okay, cool, let's do it then. So we signed the deal, and the rest is history. Yeah.
So does that mean we're going to get new Brian Adams or Crush action figures, maybe?
More, pretty much, yeah.
Wow, man, you should. Sounds like your family should be really proud that you know, since the new WWE regimens come in, they've really took a hold of the nexus of WWF.
Hmm. Yeah.
It seems really neat. I
Mhm.
was watching some films of some YouTube before we came on, and I didn't realize that the Repo Man
Mhm.
was one of the guys in Demolition.
Yeah,
So,
that's very Darso.
so
Smash.
your dad was part of their team forever, and then when he come back, he's wrestling him as the Repo Man.
Hmm.
It's like that to me is just wild. It's like wow. I'll be honest, I really didn't know a lot about Crush, but I did know a lot about Brian Adams as WCW. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, I like the bigger guys like Kevin Nash. The
Hmm.
whole NWO thing. At one time NWO was just destroying WWF,
They were.
WWE,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, I just watched the interview you did with Buff Bagwell.
Hmm.
I usually don't like watching interviews because sometimes I get annoyed by the way people ask questions. And I really liked that Buff Bagwell interview that you did.
Oh, yeah.
He It was very interesting, because he was there, and he knew your dad,
Hmm.
and some things that I didn't know, like he was trained by the great um, Japanese wrestler
Antonio Inoki, yeah.
who just passed away himself
Hmm.
recently.
Yeah.
And he asked you, he said, would you rather go to WWE or AEW? Because you're a wrestler yourself.
Hmm.
What are your feelings now about that? Where would you want to go and wrestle?
Well, preferably, I'd rather go with WWE because several things. One, they've been around longer. Two, it's currently run by Triple H, who has a more personal care for the wrestlers,
Hmm.
especially the old timer wrestlers. And three, and I guess you can say this is directed against AEW, but apparently the way they're running things right now, it's not doing so well. I've been hearing this and that about how their dealings have been going lately. Like Tony Khan apparently, uh, it's like, to put it simply, he knows how to own a business. He sometimes doesn't know how to run a business. That's what I've been hearing. So I rather feel safe going with WWE over AEW. But if for some reason I do end up AEW, if they ever send me anything, I'm like cool, sure. I'm not I'm not I'm not too picky. I mean, I got
Yeah.
preferences, but I'm also a realist at the same time. It's like one of those, if WWE doesn't want me like ever, I always have other routes to go. And if AEW decides to pick me up, I'm like, sure, why not? I know some guys there.
Well, Jay Lethal for sure because he
Oh
trained
yeah,
you, right?
yeah, he trained me. Yep.
How was it going through training with Jay Lethal? Because Jay Lethal's such a um, student of wrestling. I mean,
Hmm.
I remember when he was in Ring of Honor, and he was just amazing in Ring of Honor. Um, I personally don't think AEW has been a good fit for him. Honestly, he's not the
Hmm.
legend that he was in Ring of Honor. Um, were you trained by him during his Ring of Honor time, or since he's been in AEW?
This was back in 2017, so this is when he was still Ring of Honor. Yeah, this was like a few years before AEW even existed. Yeah, yeah, he's one of the guys that trained me. I've been trained by a few other guys before, but he's definitely the best of my trainers though, because he doesn't just like train you on how to wrestle. He kind of like tries to get to know what you're capable of and stuff, and like
Mhm.
and see if you can work on it. You know, he tries to like make sure you understand well enough instead of just throwing you out into the wolves and stuff like some other wrestlers do. So yeah, and it's surprising too because Jay's not even an old dude. You know, he's like in his 30s or whatever, mid late I think. Well, right now I mean, and but yeah, he's really knowledgeable about how the business is. You know, it's thanks to him. I know what a shine is, an opening spot, cut off, heat. I know the terms thanks to him. Whereas
Mhm.
before, I would train with some of the older school guys. You know, and it'll be like mid training, he'll be like, "Okay, heat, brother." I'm like, "What's a heat?" Oh shit, freaking! I'm like, "What the hell's a heat?" This is. Oh my chin. Oh. So
Our
basically,
receipt.
I don't even know. I didn't even know what a receipt was at the time. You know, gonna give him a receipt for what? Groceries?
Yeah, it's it's funny, Jay Lethal was handpicked, for the Ric Flair final match.
Yeah, he
With
was.
Ric
I
Flair.
remember. I remember seeing advertisements about it everywhere, even on the freaking on PlayStation. You know, I'll be like going on there and it'll be advertised right there. Ric Flair and Andrade versus Jay Lethal and another guy, and I'm like, why
Picture.
the hell is this on a freaking PlayStation news thing? I mean, what's this got to do with gaming? You know,
Well, it went from being a small place to a huge place.
I guess so.
You
Yeah.
know, Undertaker was there, Mick Foley was there. All kinds of different people
Uh,
throughout the part. Throughout Ric Flair's life. He he says now if he has it his way, he'll kick John Cena's ass. That way he don't beat his record at WrestleMania.
uh, yeah. See about that. Listen, as a wrestler, I got a lot of respect for Ric Flair because dude has a strong impact on the industry. You know, I mean, there's a reason why he's a two-time Hall of Famer, whether you like it or not. He's been in this business since late '60s, early '70s, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and he's become a national phenomenon. You know, that
In
being
my
said,
opinion, he's the greatest wrestler of all time.
exactly. I mean, that being said, even guys like him, Taker, whoever else you can think of that's kind of an old timer still trying to wrestle. Oh God, like Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah.
There's gonna come a point where they're gonna have to hang up the boots. You know, their bodies have limits. Their minds think they still got it, but their bodies say otherwise. And we've all seen what happens when you try to keep pushing beyond your limits. You know, I mean, shit. I mean, I heard he passed out 3 times in that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, if that doesn't tell you when to stop, I don't know what will.
He's probably going to die in the ring. It's going to be one of those things where,
That's
he
what they're
told,
that's what they're trying to do. They're literally trying to end their lives in the ring, you know? I mean, I know commitment to wrestling is a thing,
mhm.
but I wouldn't want to throw my life away like that. No, spend the last of your days in peace, not in the freaking battlefield. Jesus.
So
Yeah.
I have to ask you, do you
What's
still
up?
have some of your father's ring gear and stuff? Do you all have that kind of collection
Do I
or,
still have it? Dude, I wear it.
oh, you wear it? Wow.
Yeah, you ever seen
Nice.
like I mean, if you look at my current profile, it's actually me and my well, I had new gear made, but it's a little ruined. But other than that, yeah, whenever I wrestle, I wear my dad's old ring gear and stuff. The the the, the specific kind of gear that I wear is when he was heel crush. Like when we had the face paint and stuff on.
Oh, yeah.
That's the type of gear I wear. It's it's crazy, it not only does it look good and feel good, like it fits properly, like it fits almost perfectly actually. And that's saying something because the gear is at least as old as I am, maybe older. Because yeah, my dad went heel in '95, so yeah, that was when I was born, man. That gear is literally as old as I am, so
Do you feel like he's with you when you wear it?
sometimes, I do get the
Mhm.
feeling that he's nearby whenever I wear that stuff. You know It really does mean a lot to not only be able to do the same thing he did, but to wear the same gear that he wore in the ring. It's almost like I don't know. It's almost like a prophecy type of thing when you think about it. But yeah.
Do you hear him in the back of your head? I mean, how does it happen for you
Oh no,
when you
I
play
don't
in the
hear it
ring?
like I don't do it like that. Nah, nah. It's not like I hear him in my head talking and sort of thing. It's more like it's like how to describe it? It's like, dang it. It's like a term for something. It's like when you get like a pass, like a hand me down kind of thing or whatever.
Mhm.
Kind of like a big shoes to fill kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But yeah,
Have
that's
you
kind of how it feels when I wear his stuff. You know, it's like a almost like a heavy burden I wear kind of deal. But at the same time, you know, it also helps toughen me up in a way too. So
have you wore his other gear that he wore like in WCW at all?
unfortunately, no, and not that because I can't wear it. It's that the gear he had when he you said WCW, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just the material on it's falling apart. You know, like like the shiny detail they put on it that gives it like a glossy look.
Hmm.
Yeah, that part's kind of falling apart on it. You know, it's like the fabric is still good, sort of, but some of the material is like it's breaking away, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty much no good. It's gonna look too. It just looks too horrible. I think I even tried it on at one point. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah, I see. Are you going to be going to WrestleMania this year? Are you going to be at WrestleCon or anything?
No, not this year. I'll be honest. I was kind of hoping that Demolition would get inducted this year, so that way I could maybe make an appearance. Because if my dad's gonna be inducted, of course I'm gonna have to be there to maybe speak on his behalf or something like that. But since they're not, no, I'm not going this year.
They're fixing to make an appearance at ASW for Bash and Beckley over in West Virginia.
Who?
Bash and Beckley, it's ASW.
Oh,
It's out
okay.
of West Virginia, and uh, they're going to make an appearance with. I think the Headbangers are wrestling each other in a
Really?
match. Yeah, I think that's who it is. Demolition versus Headbangers.
Huh.
Who do you think was the best feud for Demolition during that
Hmm.
era?
The best feud. That's tough. Uh, I honestly don't know. I would say maybe Road Warriors because they both have a style that's very, similar to one another. And because when you
Mhm.
think about it, they are both of their gimmicks are based on Mad Max. So that's one thing, you know. Second, it's all about how the team dynamics work. How the
Mhm.
feud is, how it all meshes in together. Because other than that, I can't really think much of it. But then again, I do remember there was like a tag match between hmm, I think there's like some I think they had like a match between them and Haku and Andre the Giant, I think. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I
but that
didn't know anything about that.
yeah, it's like one of their older matches, of course, but that was like I think it may have been before my dad got involved. I think I have to double check on that stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. So do you find yourself watching old matches, or
Do say what now?
do you find yourself watching old matches or not?
Old matches? Oh yeah.
What are
Yeah.
some of your favorite matches?
Some of my favorite matches from the older days.
Mhm.
Hmm, that's a good question. I like to watch some of the old matches, like say Ric Flair versus Steamboat, and another match. I guess I also like watching that tag match between the $1 Million Man and his team and the Dream Team with Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was nice to watch. Man, there's a whole list of things.
What have you learned the most being a wrestler?
Say what?
What have you learned the most about being a wrestler? About
Oh,
being that person that people come to watch?
Man, that's a good question, actually. Damn. Yeah, that's a tough question now. What I learned the most? I guess one thing I definitely learned while being a wrestler, it's I guess you can say trying to stay focused and stuff, keep a clear mind and stuff, because this happens a lot before my matches. My mind will be all clouded and stuff. I'll be like so in the zone, but then as soon as I get into the ring, I can actually think more clearly. Knowing that I'm out there in front of all those people now, I'm like, okay, I think I got this now, and stay cool and have fun too is what another thing is. But
do you like being a heel or a face?
What?
Do you like being a heel or a face?
I guess if I had to choose, I kind of like being a face, but nowadays I work mostly as a heel though, because I kind of did like a heel turn thing, and yeah, supposedly heels have more control of the match, and they do to an extent, especially during the heat. But sometimes it depends on perspective, though. I enjoyed being considered like the good guy for a while, but then I knew I had at some point I had to like change it up a notch in order to keep my get my character evolving. So. And do I like working as a heel though? I mean, I do like working as a heel too. Yeah.
Do you like the fact that you can get a heat from a bunch of people?
Yeah.
People hate you?
Yeah, that gets kind of fun, believe it or not. People will be like swearing at you, holding up signs, freaking like calling you loser over again. Freaking I could bark back, yeah, look who's talking, grandma.
So where do you usually wrestle out of?
Right now, mostly I wrestle out of WWN these days. They're located they're located like close to Tampa. Like they're in like I think they're like in the St. Pete area right now. Yeah.
So you're right out of AEW territory there.
I guess I am. Yeah.
So do you run into a lot of the wrestlers that are like in NXT or AEW and stuff like that?
I've met a few guys. Yeah. Like at the shows on Mondays, we actually have what's called the WWE ID matches. It's where the ID guys, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The ID wrestlers, yeah, they'll have like a couple of matches with the ID wrestlers, and it showcases their potential and stuff, because that's the whole point of the ID matches. And because of that too, a lot of the wrestling stuff gets sent over to WWE these days. Ever since the ID guys have been more involved with our shows, which is a good thing because it gives us more exposure, especially when we're wrestling in the ring. The downside is they have to like kind of rotate the wrestlers, as they say. So it's like I can be wrestling there one day, and depending on, I guess, the reception, either I wrestle again in another week or don't wrestle again for a whole month. It's because they're trying to give everyone a chance, as they say.
There's a lot of WWE going on. They got the LSG thing going on, the ID thing going on.
Yeah,
TNA doing stuff with NXT, and Joe Henry's becoming the biggest wrestler since I don't know what. It's amazing what Triple H has done, to bring wrestling to current. I mean, like a lot of the WWE wrestlers are wrestling on other events during WrestleMania week, like GCW. Natalya Neidhart's wrestling the first time ever in 25 years of her being in WWE on another show, GCW. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what's happening in WWE, and I think they made the right choice by Triple H. It's wild, I mean, now it's so easy to go out and wrestle because there's so many independent places. When your dad was a wrestler, there wasn't nothing. There was only WCW and WWF. There was no like per se indie stuff. You might have had NWA or Smoky Mountain Wrestling or whatever, but it's not like it is today. I mean, there's there's a wrestling match every day of the week.
Well, I mean, you know how it used to be all about territories, right?
Oh yeah,
So the way I see it, the indie wrestling thing is kind of like how it was with the territories of the old days. You know, every area's got their own brand of wrestling and stuff. And then, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, everyone's got their own brand of wrestling. Their own areas, and it's kind of a good thing too that we have these indie shows. Because the way I see it, they're like the minor leagues of wrestling, and sometimes when you get a good enough guy that gets enough of an attraction, that's when guys like AEW or WWE come by to pick you up and see what you're made of. Either that or I don't know. I guess WWE also goes to to these sports programs like colleges and stuff to see if they
Mhm.
have athletes worth it. Because that's what I've been hearing lately too. Is about like a lot of these newer wrestlers are like former athletes, like football players, hockey players, soccer, even cheerleaders.
Yeah. Well, right now, Wes Lee has been coming to TNA, and the two guys that he's got with him, the two big dudes he's got with him, are Devon Dudley's sons.
Really?
Yeah, they're signed to WWE now,
Oh,
and
nice.
but Monday Night Raw, Tuesday nights is NXT, Wednesdays Dynamite, Thursdays TNA, Fridays SmackDown, Saturdays Collision.
Mhm.
I mean, and not to mention you got NWA, you got MLW, you got all these different organizations where people are going and wrestling. Man, it's just like I wish that guys like your father could have seen what he helped build.
Yeah.
That he helped make what it is today. Um, so many guys die so young, and they don't realize how much they impacted the industry. It'd be musicians, wrestlers, actors,
Mhm.
that how much they impact it. Um, like yourself, you wouldn't be a wrestler probably if it weren't for your father being a wrestler. You know?
Yeah, I think about that sometimes too. I wonder what life would have been like if my dad was never, a pro wrestler. Like I always wonder, like, what else would I be involved in? Would I still want to be involved in wrestling because of him, or would I be involved in something else, like maybe in the martial arts business? Because I always did had a passion for fighting. Like
Mhm.
like in fact, when I was a kid, so my dad always loved martial arts. Like he would buy all the like the Bruce Lee movies, the John Claude Van Damme movies, Bruce
Yeah.
Lee. Did I say Bruce Lee already?
No.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. He was obsessed with that stuff. You'll even like watch the hokey fighting movies, the ones that have a bad plot but really good fight cinematography. Yeah. And so
yeah.
yeah. And so he even got me training at this local martial arts place called Master Academy. It's a place where they teach you taekwondo and stuff. And of course, when I was a kid, I had no idea what it was. I was like, I thought it was karate or something, but no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's kind of different.
So are you a black belt in karate now?
No, I'm not. And no, I'm not. At the old school I was in, I did get up to brown belt, but I never really got much higher because it was kind of around the time my dad passed, and it was hard to
Mhm.
go back into it because I was going through a lot of depression at the time. And in the end, I decided to just focus more on school stuff, and that's pretty much it. So yeah.
Have you found that other children like yourself that their fathers have passed away, have you been able to reach out to people and you know uh maybe talk to them or be able to help each other in that sense?
Well, I can't say I reached out to other sons of wrestlers who have, lost said fathers and stuff, but I have met others though that have been in similar situations though, like Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Oh yeah, definitely. Great
Yeah,
wrestler.
oh yeah, I met him a couple of times before, and I told him how much he looks a lot like his dad and stuff, and how how awesome it is he's doing it and stuff, and yeah, he's a really cool guy. I mean, shoot, he knows what it's like to freaking losing his dad, like when he was still young. I mean, his dad passed way before mine did. Like I think
Yeah,
I think his dad, British Bulldog, passed in like what 2000, I think.
I think so. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you got Lexus King now. He's Brian Pillman Jr.
yeah, I was gonna say I never met him though, but I have heard about him. Kind of impressed he's able to you know get far into the business. All things considered, I mean, shoot, the guy could not have been in any better condition than I have, but here he is now working on NXT as Lexus King, and I'm happy for that. He's able to move on and make a name for himself, so that's a really good thing.
It was wild seeing him come into, I see him in AEW, of course, because that's where he become a star.
Mhm.
And it's wild to see him come as Lexus King in NXT and just completely shit all over his dad's, name. It was like you go from being Brian Pillman Jr. to Lexus King, and the whole story is you took your stepdad's name because you thought your dad was trash or whatever. And it's like, okay, I get it because it's wrestling, but that same sense, Brian Pillman was one of the best, like Kerry Von Erich, um, Kevin's sons, I think, are wrestling. They're champions with Dustin Rhodes, I think.
Mhm.
And then, his daughter, Kerry's daughter, is used to be a wrestler, you know.
Mhm.
And I've seen some breakdowns with her, man, on video too, that wasn't really good. It was like, sometimes it just doesn't come across the right way. And I think your dad would be proud of you, man. I really do. I think your dad would be proud of you. And if he was here today, he'd probably pat you on the back and tell you work harder. I'd
Mm.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I'd
Yeah.
say. He'd probably say to you.
Either that, you'll say keep up the good work or something like that. But I would like to think my dad would just be proud in general that I'm doing what I can in life, not just as a wrestler, but as a person too. Because at the end of the day, my dad just cared about family. All
Yeah.
he ever wanted to see was to see his two boys, me and my bro, grow to be fine young men and taking on the world as best as we can, despite.
You know, I don't know if you watched Raw this week, but at the time of us recording this, CM Punk's going to be able to headline his first WrestleMania, which to
Hmm.
me is unreal that CM Punk never headlined WrestleMania back in his day. It just it kind of boggles my mind that CM Punk didn't headline WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, sometimes I mean, not every big timer is going to get a chance to headline Mania. I mean, to be fair, a lot of them got taken by. Well, actually, how many Manias did Taker headline?
I don't know. I just remember he got beat by Brock Lesnar, and the whole world went crazy. That's about all I remember. It was like, no, not Brock Lesnar. You know, um,
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. If you were to go under, he should have done it to someone that's more new because I kind of do have a little bit of old school wrestling belief and all that, and that when you go out, when you're an old school wrestler and it's your time to like retire or whatever, and this is your last match, you usually go out on your back, giving whoever beat you the momentum you had throughout your career. That's
oh
basically
yeah,
old school logic right there.
oh
And
yeah.
and when Taker lost to Lesnar, I mean, we all knew it was going to happen eventually, but and Lesnar is a good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he didn't need that win to an extent. He should have given it to someone else, like Edge. I heard Edge was supposed to be Taker in their Mania match, and he would have been a good pick. You know, he was still,
Well,
you know,
well, even you know, John Cena's first match on WWE. You know who he beat, right?
Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Kurt Angle. You
Wait, didn't
know,
Kurt Angle beat him though? I thought he lost to Angle.
I think he beat Kurt Angle in that match when he first came in as John Cena, the Thugonomics guy.
No, this was not when he was Thugonomics yet. He wasn't Thugonomics yet. I
No,
watched his debut match. He
no,
came
you're
in
right.
as a sort of like prototype gimmick. This is
Prototype.
before
That's
he
the gimmick he was
Yeah, this is before he
doing.
did the whole jean shorts thing and all that. He came out in a more traditional look. He had like the red shorts and stuff. The theme was more
Yeah, the military
bionic.
code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he kind of had like a more militaristic look on his face, and yeah,
So speaking of that, John
uh-huh,
Cena, you know, he's
yeah.
supposed to be wrapping up. This is his last year, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to win at WrestleMania, or do you think they're going to keep the belt on Cody?
That's a good question. I mean, I honestly don't know. I would say you would lose because normally when you go out with a big hurrah, you're supposed to lose in order to get the winner the momentum. I mean, who is he working this year though? Is it Cody Rhodes?
Cody Rhodes, yeah.
Okay, Cody. I think Cody may win this. I think, in my opinion. I mean, I know he's been given a really good push ever since his return into wrestling, or at least with WWE. I mean,
WWE, yeah.
but at the same time though, he's already kind of like up here,
Yeah.
the way I see it, and I know this is going to be like too old school for people to understand, but if Cena were to lose against someone, he should lose to someone that's a little younger and greener, just my opinion. But because, it's definitely going to be a more hype match between him and Cody, which is totally understandable, then I would say maybe Cena will lose. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean,
You know what I would like to see happen?
what's up?
Since TNA and WWE have this thing going on, I'd
Uh-huh.
love to see John Cena come to TNA and
Mm-hmm.
challenge Joe Hendry and beat Joe Hendry and get that belt and consider it his tiebreaker with Ric Flair. It would make Joe Henry huge, and it would make TNA be a new destination for people to go see because
Hmm.
Joe Henry's over so well and Cena's a heel.
Uh-huh.
You know, I I personally was hoping for a different heel than what we're getting with Cena.
Mm-hmm.
I I really don't like the heel that we've been given. I don't like this mean heel crap. You know, I like the heels that come out and they just like brutalize people, and it's just you know, I guess that's the reason why I go and say I like the WCW version of your dad better because he was just more brutal.
Mm-hmm.
In WWF, it was more of a character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I'll let you go. Tell people how they can reach out to you if they'd like to talk to you or they'd like to. I know you probably got merchandise, probably on Pro Wrestling Tees or somewhere. Um, where can they get a hold of you?
I'm on Facebook, kind of like how you reached out to me. I got a Facebook account, Royce Adams. It's really easy to find me. Just just look up Royce Adams, and you'll see a picture of me wearing like a red and silver singlet. Arms crossed, freaking like
Mm-hmm.
looking like that. And just reach out to me through Messenger, and yeah, I'll be happy to talk. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. Ever since the announcement about the Legends deal thing, I've been getting people reaching out to me like nonstop.
So, how many interviews have you done
Overall, or after the announcement
after the announcement?
After the announcement, so far just you. You're the first
Yeah.
one.
Oh, cool! I'm glad you picked me.
Well, I mean, you're the first one to be able to get an earlier podcast thing going, and so there you go. I mean, I got others coming up soon actually, but yeah, you're the first one post Legends announcement, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for your family. I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy that you're doing what your dad probably would have loved you to be doing. And, much respect to you for keeping it alive.
I'm a Sunday morning sinner in a white church, on my knees praying till it hurts, in the back row with all the other lost souls. I'm a double shot of whiskey in a dive bar, a cowboy looking for a wild card I can take home. For the sun, I'm long gone.